Tuesday morning, which today is a day after we pay tribute to those men, those women who gave all, and I hope that over the holiday you remembered why we were celebrating. It wasn't just about a hamburger or a hot dog or a barbecue sandwich. It was about somebody who gave everything for me to have the freedom that I have a Christian television station, a gospel music television station, and any subject and talk about something that I absolutely love. And this is a bee, and I'm not going to tell you what she's doing, but it's something that, yeah. And this is really, really cool. So today you're going to learn about very, very little about, but I know that I do love honey. And this is local honey from Gilmer County. Everybody in the world has helped except me, and I do it all the time, and I don't understand. I've done Blairsville honey, I've done Gilmer County honey, I've done ball ground honey, I've done all kinds of honey, and I still have allergies. One day we're going to hit the mark and my allergies are going to go away, but today we're going to play with honeybee gatherers and honeybee people and 10 years experience, and you're going to get to learn a little bit about what makes it happen. Honestly, when I was looking at these, I was kind of getting, ooh, kind of weird. I mean, this is where our honey comes from. This is where our honey comes from. And you just kind of think that they just walk in there and drop it. That's not exactly how it works. I love this. And this would kind of be like me and an entourage, the queen of the court. Is that not cool? Is that Now, it's not just a few bees that gather. So how important is it, especially in Gilmer County, where we are the apple capital of Georgia? And would we have apples without honeybees? Maybe not. Maybe not. We're going to talk about that when we come back, but I want to remind y'all, we have a lot of local things happening, and one of the things that's going to happen, Dummy here scheduled 2 events, same day. The Fiddlers Convention is on June the 15th. Cherie's going to be in Ball Ground doing an open house. What was I thinking? I can't be in 2 places at one time, but I want y'all to go to the Fiddlers Convention. I want you to be there. I want you to enjoy all the music, all the melodies, all the memories that will be made. And I want y'all to be there for me because I've got to be in Ball Ground. We double dipped and scheduled 2 things. Why do I do that? And go, need to be there, and it's amazing, and the talent is local, it is raw, it is fresh, it is starting with young kids and going to the old geezers. Be responsible for this, and that just blows my mind how AB could produce. I don't know anything about it except that I know it is yummy, and I actually stopped from Gilmer County. It's really good, but I can't tell the difference, and I don't know how you tell the difference. Maybe, I don't know. We'll find out when we come back. So hang on, we'll be back in just a minute. All right.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you? Georgia Medical Treatment Center now has 2 locations to bring you the high-quality holistic care you've come to know and expect. We treat neck, back, and joint pain with chiropractic care and injection-based treatment without the need for surgery or prescription painkillers. Our medical weight loss program can also provide relief while ridding your body of toxins, pounds, and inches while improving your overall health. Call today for a free consultation, 770-345-2000, or go online to georgiamtc.com.
You know, how you feel on the inside is just as important to me as how you feel on the outside.
Oh, Daddy.
I'm grown up, is there in every way, care and take care of you. You're my grown up and I know you're there. I'm your grown up and you know I care. 'Cause it's you and me and me and you. So when you are okay or not okay, I'll take care of you.
Misty mountain, rainbow sky, a faraway look in your eye. Tell me, have you had enough? Traffic jams and city stuff. Don't you think it's time to go where black bears climb and waters flow? Hummingbirds out on the deck, propped up, and what the heck?
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Here we go. Guess what? Today we are going to find out why I love honey and what it takes to make honey. And I have a couple of honey experts. Would you call yourselves honey experts? No. Okay. How much experience?
3 years.
Okay.
2 years.
2 years. They're not experts. They're just beginners, just like me, but they're going to teach me something. Now, the club has been in business, what, 10 years?
10 years this year.
So where are the people who started it? Did they die from eating honey? No. Where are they?
They passed away. A couple of them passed away.
Did they?
John Takish, yeah.
Okay.
He was original. There was Susan Wells. There was Kathy Overstreet. Mary Hawkins, who's here today.
She's still alive.
Yeah,
You've been
she's still
eating honey.
alive. A couple of them are still
cool.
alive.
I'm feeling better. They're going to have me taste this honey, and then they're telling me, well, we had some members that passed. Okay.
Yeah, a few of them.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's 10 years old this year.
Okay, well, you turn around, let me read your shirt.
Sure.
Okay, I love this because I've been around Uncle John when he's getting the honey. Okay, definition is lifting heavy boxes in blazing 100-degree sun while wearing a jacket, hood, veil, gloves, and carrying a can of fire. Yes, I have seen Uncle John getting the honey, and I'm going, why do you do this? And they said, it's so much fun. Why do you do this?
Well, first of all, God created a creature that gives food back to man. It's the only insect that does that. So in the state of Georgia, there's probably 50,000 different types of bees. This is the only one that produces honey. There's other pollinators.
50,000.
Yeah.
50,000 bees.
Yeah. Just in the state of Georgia.
Okay, and it takes that many to keep our crops flowing and
Well,
going.
it depends on the year. Last year there was a dearth. I never had heard that word before because
What does it mean?
Because of the wind and the rain, there wasn't enough pollen or nectar for the bees. So most beekeepers lost either hives or had to feed their bees throughout the winter just to keep them alive.
Seriously?
This year, It's the opposite. There's so many things that bloom up here in Georgia. At one time, there wasn't enough bees to gather all the.
Can you tell that because I'm all stuffy today and
No,
my
I can't tell
allergies are
that.
driving me crazy? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, now y'all brought honey and I want to sample it, but honestly, I've never been able to tell the difference if I seriously get Blairsville or Ellijay or ball ground honey. I can't tell the difference. Why is yours one color and yours one color?
It depends on what nectar they're bringing in. It could be one type of plant. Or
How do you
another type
know?
Well, typically, when you see a labeled honey jar, it may be clover, it may be sourwood. It depends on what's blooming that time of the year.
Okay.
Bees will travel up to 4 or 5 miles for good food, just like human beings. And as Bill said, it depends on what's blossoming at the time.
That honestly looks like liquid gold, doesn't it?
It does.
Isn't that amazing?
It's gold.
Now tell me how hard somebody worked to make just that little jar of honey.
People don't realize that the bee itself, the female, that's all the workers. She'll last,
The workers, did you say the workers are all females?
as it should be.
I knew he was going to say that. Oh my God, that's so good.
It is good.
I was going to put it on a biscuit, really, because I just wanted a biscuit. He said it's better if you don't. It's really good. It's really, really good.
She will last 45
Oh my God.
days because the workers back and forth, that's why the lifespan is only about
She
45.
lives 45 days.
Yes.
Wow.
So the
Wow.
queen is always laying eggs, and she can lay up to 3,000 eggs a day. So that's why a beekeeper has to go in and check. There's a lot of things fighting bees today, killing bees besides the pesticides.
How do I know? I know that's the queen with a date. She had a date that night, right?
She had
Okay.
a date that night.
She had a date.
correct.
Okay.
She may have several dates that
Yes,
night.
I know. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. How do you know she's the queen? How do we identify a queen?
The queen is the largest bee. She's long and narrow.
Okay.
And
Unlike me, short and fat.
well, the short and
Had to
fat
do
ones are
that.
the workers.
There you go. There you go again.
But typically, when a beekeeper opens a hive, there's a full hive is about 60,000 bees, and it's hard to find her without straining your eyeballs, and you don't want to spend a lot of time.
Here you labeled her.
Yeah, we mark them,
Yeah. Okay.
so it's easier to stand out. So that's
great.
why.
How do you mark her?
There's a little, like a magic marker. You just brush her
And
very
she
lightly.
okay, that's what I was going to say. She just says, okay, go ahead and brand me.
And it should be long and narrow and almost look like she's got a tuxedo
Oh, that's great.
with her wings. The way they look, they're kind of shorter, and she looks like she has a tuxedo.
That is wild. That is just wild.
Now, when she's on her date, or
Yes,
dates,
yes.
once they mate,
Uh-huh.
the males die.
Not that I find the humor in it.
Some people do.
Yeah, I do.
But when she's laying male eggs, they're only when they hatch, they won't mate with the queen of the same hive. So, and at the end of the
Diversity.
season, yes,
Diversity, yeah.
And at the end of the season, the workers will chase the males out, and eventually they'll pass away because they want to maintain the food for the hive. The DNA of the bee is to keep the colony intact.
That's crazy. Hand me this one, because this one kind of flipped me out. I was like, ooh, yuck. I'm eating stuff that came out of this. What are we seeing here?
But you explain that.
Well, that's your larva in the life cycle. It's from the egg when they lay it. The egg, it looks like a tiny grain of rice.
Right.
And I've got bad eyes. I got to put reading glasses on. And I cannot see the egg when I go in and look at it. It is that small.
Wow.
And then as it progresses, and then you have your bee. So this is the cycle from an egg all the way up to where it hatches as a bee.
And an egg to be the time frame is what?
Depends on if it's male or female, whatever the case may be,
Okay.
but 21 days probably.
Okay. Kind of like a chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, and an egg. Yeah. Okay. That is amazing to me. I guess I just thought bees just came here. I didn't think they were family, but they're family. Now, out of these, do they consider themselves family? Do they build alliances, or do they just not care about each
each
other?
bee has a job. There's guard bees in the front, so if you come up close to the hive, or if, let's say a bear or another animal, the guard bees will attack, and when when she stings you, she'll pass away because the entrails,
And you'll know that you've been stung.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And when she stings, are honeybees dangerous bees? Do they carry?
Well, there's different, there's Italians, there's Corona, there's different types of bees.
here we go,
Russian,
diversity.
yeah, diversity is right.
Yeah.
But once a bee stings you, that pheromone that stinger's producing will attract other bees. So all of them become guard bees at that particular moment. And some of them can be nasty at the hive. We were just talking this morning, there was a hot hive and the gentleman was getting stung through his suit and everything else.
Oh my gosh.
Like, one stung me here. Well,
Yeah.
because it stung me here, that's where they all went. To the one spot.
That is
Because
crazy.
it left, and it went through my suit.
That is
and
crazy.
Left the pheromone. And
I tasted that one. That is super sweet to me. That's probably the sweetest honey I've ever had. Honey's always sweet, but that one is really sweet. I want to try this one now. Now, whose is this one?
that one's mine.
That one's yours, okay. I want to try that. It was really good. As sweet, yeah, really, really sweet.
That's like
good.
him.
Now,
Yeah, that's really good.
do you taste the difference between the two?
I don't.
You don't.
I don't.
Well, some people have better taste buds
But
than
again,
mine.
I have such allergies that I can't really tell. I really can't. No, I really can't. No, I wish I could, but that, it's so good and it's so yummy. To get it looking that beautiful and that clear from this process, what's the process to get it there?
Well, once you get the frame of honey,
And show
Cap on.
folks these.
this is a typical deep frame. There's different size hives.
Mm-hmm.
This is a deep. So when that hive is filled with 60,000 bees and honey on this frame, it weighs about 100 pounds. So some of us old people have back problems.
Yeah.
We go to a thinner.
Some of us young people have back problems. Yeah.
Go to smaller hives, and this is the comb that the bees produce. So in here, besides the eggs that you saw in that one photograph, there'll be pollen, nectar, and then eventually honey. They'll cap the honey. So once that honey is capped and a beekeeper takes the frames out of honey, he'll uncap it. He'll scrape it and break that seal off and have it drip into a bucket. Strain it as it's dripping, so because there'll be comb on there. Now some
Right.
people sell the comb as well.
The last I bought, it had that. I didn't like it because I use it for cooking, and it was a big pain in the drain
Yes,
to
it
get
is.
it to. I would turn it upside down and try to drain it and strain it. I said, never again will I buy that comb. My mother loved it, loved to chew on it. No.
Well, it's wax.
I know, yeah, I know. And then she'd,
But once
yeah.
once it strains and it goes into an extractor, you spin it, and then it comes out in another bucket. You can extrain it again, but it's pretty well cleaned by
To
that
get to
particular
this
time. To
point.
get it to
Yeah,
that point,
yeah.
then you bottle it. You wait for a day, and then you bottle it.
And I've always heard that honey lasts forever, but I have actually seen honey that crystallized.
Crystallizes.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that honey.
Okay, because I used it. I slapped it in the microwave for just a second,
No,
and I used it.
that's the wrong thing
Wrong
to do.
thing to do. I knew I'd get fired. Okay, what was I supposed
You
to
don't-
do?
When you put it in a microwave, you kill all the benefits of the honey. So the best way to put it is either warm water, not boiling,
Okay.
but warm water,
Okay.
or a day like today, put it on your dashboard.
Oh, yeah.
It'll go back to its original state.
Okay.
They're digging honey out of the Egyptian tombs today. That's how old it
crazy?
is.
That is
honey never
crazy.
goes bad.
Well, and honestly, I wish that I'd planned a little bit better than I did to make y'all a recipe that I do with honey and marshmallow cream and brown sugar and butter.
Oh.
And that's how I make sweet potato souffle. And I started doing it about probably 15 years ago. I had a hard way to do it, and it was just a pain. And one day I was making sweet potatoes, and there was a pint of honey sitting there. And I kind of looked, and I put the marshmallow cream, the butter, the honey, and the brown sugar, stirred it all up, and it is amazing on toast. Oh my gosh, you put it under the broiler, and it's like heaven. But I use it in my sweet potatoes. And so I have all that sugar, brown sugar, and marshmallow cream, but then the honey made it. The honey absolutely made the recipe, and you can tell it is filled with honey.
Well, there's a lot of benefits from honey. There's a lot of benefits that come out of the hive, and Mary can explain those better than I. But they're using honey, Manuka honey, for cancer and other illnesses that we as humans have.
And we as humans seem to be trying to find cures for all the things we're dealing with. And it's just like with this, doing a teaspoon a day. Do you do a teaspoon a day?
No.
No? Do you?
I do. I put it
You
in my
do?
tea, yes.
Okay, okay, because I do it in tea. I love it in tea.
Yes.
That's my thing. Do we lose an element of it when we put it in tea,
A
or
little
is it
bit.
better to
Yes.
just?
The
Okay.
tea is, if the tea, I drink my tea warm, not hot, but warm. So that
So
can still
today
taste the
I'm going to
honey.
be super healthy because I did a little of your, a
Right.
little of your honey and a little of your honey.
Right, because if you put it in real hot liquid, that does take away.
Okay.
You're better off having it in warm liquid or
just to do
a
a
cold
teaspoon.
drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
or just a
Yeah,
plain
yeah.
teaspoon. Right.
Can you over honey yourself? Is there too much honey? Is it?
Well, if it is, I'll be in trouble.
Okay, okay. Is there ever a time that you look at this and say, I'm just so tired of this. I don't want to do this
No, I
anymore.
wouldn't-
You
no.
love it.
Yeah, you have to, because you pay a price. The other day, I paid the price because, and then so did my wife. They were after me, but they stung her. Wow. And I had to rush her to the doctors. So some people were very allergic to bees.
And didn't you bring a?
Yeah, veil. It's,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll get it towards
Okay,
the end.
okay.
But some people were very allergic to. You have to have the EpiPen or whatever
Right.
the case may be next to you. So, but remember, bees only sting you one time. Wasps can sting you more than once.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy.
But then again, wasp, you might have one or two wasps with the bees.
Yeah,
you got a lot of
60,000
bees,
bees. Okay. Okay, let's hold these things up kind of in the process of how this system goes. Show me where do we start with the queen? With
Right.
where do we start?
Yes.
Welcoming a drone into the world. Tell me about that.
Drones are the males.
Okay.
And their only function is to mate with the queen. That's their only function. They're gigolos.
Yep.
That's the best way to describe them.
I love
All
it.
they do is hang around
Oh, yeah.
when they come back to
Yeah,
the hive,
something for nothing,
and they're fed
yeah.
by the workers.
Yeah, something for nothing. Okay.
That's-
Got it.
So you have to have a little bit of fun in this
Yes,
crazy world.
absolutely.
So,
Okay.
and that-
Welcoming a drone into the world. Okay.
yeah, and then, like I said, they'll fly off and they congregate somewhere up there in the clouds somewhere, waiting for another queen to come along. She may mate with up to 25 drones.
That's crazy.
And like I said, once that happens, they pass away. So
And then the queen in her court,
Go ahead,
how
go.
does she become the queen in her court? Does she ask these guys to join her, or do they just follow
Well,
her?
actually, you have a queen. Now, if a queen doesn't perform, she gets fired.
Okay.
The hive will do away with her, and they'll make a new queen. So they can actually make their own queen. So if she's not performing well enough,
Out of here.
they will take and pick an egg or pick a larva, give her royal jelly, and
Gone.
build a new queen.
Wow, that is
So
crazy.
it's
And at this stage, what is the? How do you know the age of that bee? Is that?
we don't know
it's,
the
it's,
age.
it's it's a female, so you don't ask.
Okay.
You know?
That's right. Weight or age, yeah. Shut your mouth.
That's it. I mean, there's certain rules you never break.
Yeah, there you go. And a bee and the honey, that is so fascinating to me. And you know what's so fascinating? This is what really got me this morning. Because I was like, I don't know why. I just thought they just went in there and kind of dropped this stuff and wrong. There's a lot of work to this.
There's a lot of work.
Well, my wife is a bee widow. We
Yeah,
we
you're
just
gone
took
all the time.
honestly, we took a vacation this year to Europe, and this is not a joke. We pulled back home in 15 minutes after the car pulled into the driveway.
You were in the bees.
I was in the apiary,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So she
it's-
had to take you to Europe to get you away from your
yeah,
love.
and it was an
Yes.
addiction.
Kind of like having a girlfriend on the side.
And you can ask him. I was talking to him on the phone from Austria
Oh yeah. I had
and
no
saying,
doubt.
"Hey, one of my swarm traps caught bees," and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean it is an addiction. They are fascinating creatures,
Yep.
and you just once you get hooked on it,
You're hooked.
yeah. I mean
Well, Well, I'm hooked on the honey. That was really, really good. We're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to find the queens here because we have a couple of queens here. Not bee queens, but queens. So we'll be back in just a minute, guys.
How y'all doing out there? Welcome to Ellijay. That's with a J.
About 90 miles north of Atlanta, where the Coosawhatee lay, they come out of the hills to pay their telephone bills in a town called Ellijay. When the mayor drove a shiny 62 Corvette, Slim was in a cruiser with a Cobra jet. What you see is exactly what you get if you come to Ellijay. Hey, Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, 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 good enough for you and me. Yeah. Apple blossom, baby possum, muscadine wine. Leave all your troubles at the welcome sign. I'm so proud to call a piece of his mind a town called Ellijay.
How you like them apples?
Rivers run right through the middle of town, and late in the evening when the sun goes down, you can drive through and hear the happy sounds of the folks in Ellijay. Now way back in the summer of '73, the Red Dot parking lot was the place to be. But you could get more than what you bargained for back in those days in Ellijay. Yeah, you could. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, good enough for you and me. Yeah. 69 Road Runner, Charger RT, pistol grip 4-speed, 383. Boys, that's the way it all used to be, right here in Ellijay. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. Ellijay, don't you want to come and see? Yeah. Trout fishing, skinny dipping, party all night. Praise the Lord, honey, I saw the white picking on a Telecaster Saturday night on the streets of Ellijay. Ellijay, a mighty fine place to be. You and me floating down the Coosawhatee. Yeah. Apple blossom, baby possum, muscadine wine. I'm so proud to call a piece of his mind. Drop all your troubles at the welcome sign. I'll see you in Ellijay. Woo. Yeah.
Anyway, LJ, go ahead, Chief.
We're back. Told you there'd be some queens here now. Okay, queens, introduce yourself.
I'm Mary Hawkins.
And
Twanda Finucci.
you ladies have been involved in this how long?
This is my 12th year.
Okay, and?
2 months.
2 months. So you're like, what? How did I get myself into this? Okay, so have you produced honey all those 12 years?
Not all 12 years. I pretty regularly now have some honey production under my belt, but every year the amount of honey that's produced is variable. Weather conditions, storms, just all kinds of stuff. And we try to be very ethical beekeepers and only take extra. So if our bees are having a rough year, we leave all of it to them. We do not take the honey.
Wow.
But if they're having a boom year and we have extra, we love to take the honey.
And if you were selling this jar of honey, what would that jar of honey sell for?
About between $15 and $18.
Okay. And see, people
Around
just
town,
think that's
I've seen that.
ridiculously expensive, but that is ridiculously cheap.
They can,
That is
they can come
ridiculously
up and
cheap.
help with the extraction process either at the club or my house. I'll take labor. It's incredibly fun, but it's a lot of work. And a lot of cleanup after the work because it's very sticky by the time you get to
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, but it's, I used to think, man, that's too much, but
Okay, did you not
Really
learn
not.
from her mistakes? She's been into this 12 years.
I've only met her just recently.
recently.
So how did you get
Yeah.
involved 2 months ago?
I'm like you, I eat honey every day. And I thought, well, since we've retired and we are settled, maybe now's the time to start beekeeping. I had taken a course through Heroes to Hives. It's a free course for military veterans and their dependents, and it was really interesting. And when I learned that Bill had hives, I wanted to just have hands-on. Well, we skipped that part and we went straight to having bees. So Bill came out to our house and put bee traps up, and we actually caught a swarm. So that's how we got our hives. So.
And explain to people who may be sitting at home going, what, you set a trap for bees? How does that work?
Well, it's, you might be able to explain it better, but it's just what, five frames or so?
You set up something that scout bees would find interesting as a potential home.
Okay.
And a swarm is the way a hive that's doing really well reproduces itself. So a swarm is a sign of a really healthy hive. You want the hive to be that healthy, but you don't want to lose all those workers because you want them working for you. So you try and, as a beekeeper, to prevent the swarms, but they happen, and it's sad for you that your workers are taken off, but it's a sign that your bees are really doing well. And they send out scout bees, and they all are like like if you're looking for a new house and you contact a realtor and you go and check all these things out, you come back and talk about the pros and cons, right? The bees do that. A beehive is actually a very complex society. It's a family, but it's a society. And we think of a hive as its own organism and then individual bees as well as organisms, right? But the hive functions as a single organism. And those scouts go out and they come back and they talk about it, and then they go and check out. And it might take them days, but they finally figure out where would be a good place. So you want to set up an area that they would find the best place.
Like you want it to say Ritz-Carlton,
Yes,
not Days Inn.
exactly.
Right? Okay.
And when you do, and you make it appealing to the bees, and you add things like swarm lure, which is the essential oils that mimic pheromones that bees have been there and found it good too. Hopefully, the scout bees go back to their hive and say, hey, guess what? We found a good home, let's go. And the swarm takes off and goes to your swarm trap. And then you can hive
How
them.
far will a swarm travel?
Well, I know bees will travel, really pushing it, 5 to 7 miles, but we think of 3 to 4 miles as their area when they're foraging for nectar. I think it's probably a little closer just on the logic of they're taking the queen with them, and she's big. I mean, they have to put her in a diet and exercise program before she can fly to go with the swarm.
Seriously?
Her group there.
Why didn't they just get her a limo?
Well, I tell you what, that's it, you know? But think about it.
Drive her along.
That queen, when Jim said, you know, she's laying thousands of eggs a day. If you add up the mass of those eggs, they're more than her entire body weight. Wow. Think about that. And doing that every day for up to several years.
She's tired.
Well, that's why she has no time to put her feet up. She has no time to eat, right? So that's that retinue of her court. They are grooming her, feeding her, massaging her. They're taking care of every need she has so she can lay. Wow. When they want to swarm, they say, okay, we're not going to let you lay. They chase her around, feed her less for a few days before, and literally force her to slim down enough to fly. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Okay, how many beekeepers do you think are in Gilmer County altogether? Do y'all have a number? Do you know?
Probably over 100.
Yeah, because there's a good number in the club, but there's an awful lot of beekeepers who aren't club members. But beekeeping is a pretty sought after hobby up here, and there's a few beekeepers that are much more than just hobbyists. Like, you know, I'm a hobbyist.
Well,
but
in
I know
Ball
beekeepers
Ground,
that do more.
Weeks honey, who's been there for generations.
Right.
And people come from everywhere to get his honey. $30 a quart for honey. $30 a quart. And when you look at this, that's cheap. $30 a quart is cheap.
It is.
But it
that's
doesn't
buying it at a
last that
discount.
long if you use it daily. And I have found that honey is more expensive than sugar. It's more expensive than brown sugar. It's more expensive than log cabin syrup. It's more expensive, but it's also beneficial to your health, where those other things aren't.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. Honey isn't just the sugar. All of those things are forms of sugar. Honey is definitely sugar, but there's a lot more in it that does different things in our bodies and gives us micronutrients that just sugar doesn't.
Now we have couple of little midgets sitting over here that got stung by bees, and they got stung by wanting to be involved in bees. Tell me how we rounded up these young men. They're going to be on the next segment. Yeah, they're going to be on the next segment. How did these kids get involved?
Well, I've probably known them the longest because I knew them before they were born. Yes, so these guys would, even as little toddlers and babies, their parents would bring them over to visit, mostly to play with my dairy goats. But as I, had bees, we would be walking down to see the bees. And they've always just been, these guys are super curious kids. And they couldn't learn enough about bees, and they just became fascinated with it, and they're now on the road to becoming beekeepers in their own right.
How cool is that?
That is very cool.
And could they go to a state championship and possibly, like 4-H has the championships? Does anybody in 4-H do bees?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because that would be so cool. And they kind of have a leg up because they started so young. And do they love it, or are they just curious? Do you think they really will fall into this?
I think they love it because this has been, years. They're not toddlers anymore, and they've had a sustained interest and curiosity about the bees.
They've been beekeeping longer than I have.
Wow.
By several years.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get to meet the little midgets here, and we're going to get to meet an expert. Can we call you an expert? Somebody's got to be an expert, because none of the rest of us are. We're all learning as we go. I've learned so much today just from, I had no idea. I mean, I've seen the hives. I've seen Uncle John building the hives. I've seen him get the suits, and I've seen what it costs to become a beekeeper.
Yeah,
it's a very expensive hobby.
Especially starting out. It evens out over the years, but getting started is it's a commitment.
Yeah, and it's like, I think I remember, was a bee suit like $130, something like that?
That sounds about right.
Can I interject?
Yes.
The queen will cost between $40 to $400.
Wow.
The queen.
Wow.
That's more than gold.
That is.
That's a
right.
special queen,
right.
though. That's a
right.
very
Yeah.
that's like getting a championship koi or
But
going
look
to
at
the
what
fish
she
store.
produced, and this is Azalea Hollow, and that is interesting. Azalea, how do you know?
Oh, that's the address.
Oh, okay.
That's the name of that particular. See,
Okay, we don't know what flowers
Azalea Drive, Ellijay,
Oh.
Georgia.
See, if I'd had on my glasses, I could have told that. All right, we'll be back in just a minute, guys.
There's a long line of mourners coming down our street. Their fancy cars are such a sight to see. They're all of your rich friends that knew you in the city. And now they finally brought you back to me. The papers told of how you lost your life, of the party and the fatal crash that night. The race on the highway, the curve nobody's seen. Now you're riding in that long black limousine. Well, when you left home, you told me. You said that someday you'd be returning with a fancy car for the whole town to see. Well, everybody's watching now, and I guess you finally got your dream. You're riding in one of them long black limousines. Through tears I watch as you ride by, with a chauffeur at the wheel, dressed up so fine. I'll never love another. My heart and all my dreams are with you in that long black limousine. I'll never love another. My heart and all my dreams ride with you in that long black limousine.
Here we go. Okay, guys, we are back, and we are bringing, tell me about you.
My name's Jonathan Hargis, and I'm going into my 23rd year of beekeeping.
And why in the world, 23 years ago, you were a mere child?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed gas money.
There you go.
That's all there was to it.
There you go. And your parents said, go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me about these young men.
These guys, I'm actually fresh to knowing myself, but
Okay.
I wish I had gotten into beekeeping when I was their age.
How old are you?
I'm 12.
And what's your name?
Attila.
And what's your name?
I'm Vike and I'm 13.
13. Okay, and we talked about you're the oldest. He might be the smartest, but you're both very wise.
No, I'm wiser.
I
got the smarts.
I love it. Okay, when you started in bees, were you like them, just interested, or did somebody force you into it?
Not at all. I literally just needed the money. I wasn't afraid of bees, and it ended up turning from just a job, no interest, into a 15-year apprenticeship.
That's crazy.
And then I went off on my own with it.
Yeah, and when you produce honey, what do you call a crop that is financially productive? Because what does it take? We know it costs money to do this, but how many units, gallons, quarts of honey does it take to be successful?
I would say the success is marked less by the financial aspect and more by the persistence, because eventually when you keep up with it and you learn what you're doing, you gain that confidence to be successful. You have less loss, and at that point, ideally when the weather works with you and Mother Nature, you get that honey to help pay not only for everything you put into it, but then more.
Well, I've watched people get started, and it was like at least $2,000 to $2,500 just to start up. When you started that many years ago, was it that expensive?
I learned to not necessarily need all the protective gear. I got bees from my mentor.
So you didn't have that big investment?
No.
Now, the guys are doing, you're learning under the advisement of these people, and so basically you haven't seen what funding a beehive means.
Well, I watched my mom because she got 3 hives, but they all left right around winter time.
Did y'all run them off?
No.
No. Okay.
I wasn't the one who really did it, because when we first got bees, I got stung in the neck 5 times.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I'm done with bees.
Yeah.
And so whenever my mom would be working on the bees, I would just be like standing on the porch just to be like,
no.
I'm not going near it. And then when the bee club like said you can join and we will fund everything for you, I'm like, I could give it another chance if I have like if I have a bee suit,
yes.
a full bee suit. I won't wear a veil or a jacket. I prefer. Because the bee suit, well, it does what it has to. It protects me.
Right. And how do you feel about it? Were you ever afraid of bees, or did you get stung?
When my mom had bees, Tilla was the one on the porch watching from a distance. I was the one who was 1 foot away, shining, like helping, like giving her the brush or the tool to open up the boxes.
So you really got
without
into
a bee
it.
suit. Without a bee suit.
Without a bee suit.
Oh yeah.
See? So,
but I don't want to. I don't. If I'm like grabbing the hive.
Yeah.
I don't want to I want to have a bee suit.
Wow.
In case I drop it.
But he's the tough one.
Yeah.
I've gotten stung enough times. I got stung in the face by a paper wasp.
Wow.
And I was just like,
enough.
And that was driving a ATV, and it stuck me twice in the same spot. It was not comfortable.
Oh my! Can y'all hand me the
veil?
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah, can y'all do that? Can you reach it and hand it to us? Because I see people who put on the whole full suit, and then I see people who go in and don't use anything. Do you
Not
full
really.
suit up?
Not unless they really make me.
Yeah. And what makes them make you? What do they do? Do you aggravate them? Do they get annoyed?
That's a good question. There's actually a lot of different variables. They could be genetically just angry bees.
Or
like
angry old men.
Africanized. They're
Yes.
the ones who will do that.
We had Africanized bees in Florida. That's a good point.
Wow.
And I would wear a suit then, for sure.
We had an Africanized hive to the point where my grandfather's trying to set up ring cameras, and he had to do that at night. And during the day, he was wearing like a hornet suit because they would get around him. I was worried to even get in the garage because I drive a UTV and it kind of idles loud. But thankfully, I didn't have it. I was still working on it. But I'm kind of glad that hive left, and now we have the Gilmer County hives, and they're much more mellow. Except
crazy,
my brother has quite a strong hive.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even when I'm wearing my bee suit, I'm standing at a distance, and they're just kind of like flying in my face.
Okay, just throw that over here. Okay.
Jacket.
Okay.
This is a jacket and veil, not a full suit.
Not a full suit.
Minimal coverage.
What I will not wear.
Yeah.
Unless
okay,
I
let
have.
me see that. Okay. All right. If you hold that up, because you're the tallest, everybody can see everything. Okay. That protects your arms, but doesn't protect your hands. So
Nope.
what do
That's
you do
when
for
you-
your
You get to
hands?
incorporate gloves.
Okay.
And you notice there's a lot of mesh in this because it gets hot.
Yes.
We're working in the sun and the
Yes,
heat, so you've got to
yes.
have that ventilation through here.
Yeah.
And of
yeah.
course a screen away from the face to help protect the nose.
Has anybody ever died during beekeeping? Has anybody ever died from so many stings?
Most likely those who were probably allergic.
Yeah, it's possible, and I'm sure that someone could come up with enough research of instances where that happens. But for a person who's not anaphylactically allergic, the risk is very low.
Yeah, yeah.
Very low.
I have a kid who got stung about 8 times, and the pharmacist said, give him 8 Benadryl immediately. I said, 8
That's a lot.
Benadryl?
That's a lot.
He said, give him 8 Benadryl. We were out in the woods in Alabama, and he said, do you have Benadryl? I said, yeah. And he said, give him 8 Benadryl. And I was like, are you crazy? But I did, and it, but he was swelling up and doing all these crazy things, so we couldn't breathe. But so
That would be in the group of
Yes.
anaphylactically,
yeah,
Scary.
definitely. Now, what do you do for a living? Because you don't do bees for a living, do you?
I do bees for a living.
That is crazy to me.
I mix it with real estate.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
yeah.
always a season for everything.
That's right. That's right. Well, I do television and real estate, and I tell everybody now I feel like I'm on vacation because I only have 2 jobs, and it's really weird because I had so many. But I've always admired. I've loved honey all my life. I've admired the fact that people can do this, and when you come up to it, the people and the bees have to work together.
You got it right.
Yeah, if you didn't like the bees and they didn't like you, they're not going to produce.
Nope.
No, they're not going to produce. Now, where's the best place in the world? Do we have a state, a city, somewhere that the bees are, the honey's better?
I got to tell you, and I think we're all a little bit biased.
Yeah.
But we are in a special area of the U.S. No other place, given the tri-state area, of course, Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia,
Right.
but especially Georgia.
Yeah, yeah.
We produce sourwood honey.
Yes.
It's a highly sought after honey. It's a high dollar honey, and it's worth it.
Yeah. And see, I lived in Orlando and we had orange blossom honey, and it was really good.
It is.
But it wasn't as sweet as this. And it was almost lighter. Does that make sense? Not as heavy?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And that, this is good. This is really, really good.
You're well on your way to being a honey connoisseur.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've eaten enough of that stuff, Lord. And I do create recipes with it, but now that I know cooking it and getting it to temperatures kind of loses the value, I'll start thinking differently about that.
Oh, don't.
Don't keep working with it.
Have a little raw like this, but
Keep cooking with it.
honey is a wonderful way to use honey. Don't ever discourage anyone
Yeah.
from using
Y'all
it.
keep using honey.
But
Yeah.
for the maximum health benefit of the honey itself, raw honey, you can't go wrong. But no, don't ever think, oh, I'm doing a disservice by using honey instead of
Right.
sugar or something.
Now, there's something going on in Gilmer County, and we wanted to talk about that. Do you know about it?
No.
What were we talking about? That you're going to have an event somewhere?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, we're moving our apiary
Okay.
from its current location to Buckley's Vineyard.
Okay.
And that'll be sometime in June, towards the end of June. We leveled the ground.
And
they
it's
leveled
going
the
to a vineyard because of the
Because, well, they put
availability.
pollinator gardens in, they put medicinal gardens in for people
Okay.
along walking paths, and those photographs that you showed, we're gonna put those along the walking paths.
Okay.
And the bees do not pollinate grapes. They'll go to the flowers, but they do not pollinate grapes.
Really?
No, grapes are self-pollinating.
Interesting.
People think they pollinate blueberries. They don't they pollinate blueberries, but they have to follow another bee first, like a wood bee, carpenter bee. Will open up the blossom, and a honeybee will go in and pollinate that. But other things, like corn is self-pollinating. But Buckley Vineyards offered us an opportunity that would benefit their customers, their clients. You could have a sip of wine and meal while you're enjoying all these benefits of the apiary.
Now, let me ask y'all this. If you're inviting people to, you just moved to the community and they want to join your group, how do they get in touch with y'all?
The best way is Beekeepers of Gilmer County. I announce it every Wednesday, the second Monday of every month, but it's in the prior newspaper the week prior.
Okay.
We normally meet at Burger King in the back room where the playground used to be
Uh-huh.
at 6:30. New beekeepers come at 6. Even if you don't have bees, you're more than welcome. Come and learn. And our suggestion would be, if you're just getting into it, is don't buy bees, don't get and buy all that stuff that they try to sell you until you join the club and hear what and learn.
Whether
and
you
see
really
what
want to be involved in it. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. I know y'all go to schools. Have you ever been to a school and talked to kids about bees?
I have.
Okay. To me, you know, I mean, I remember stuff I learned in the 3rd grade, 4th grade. I think this would be amazing to put it in all schools in North Georgia.
I agree.
It's pretty much there. We do with the ag departments for the counties all surrounding us and here in Gilmer. We've done presentation to the elementary schools.
We did Earth Day. These 2 young men were adopted by the club because in our bylaws, it is training new beekeepers. And they showed an interest, and that's why we adopted them, and then we provide all the benefits for them. Now for next year, probably half of next following year, we're gonna have their beehives at Buckley's Vineyard. And then after we feel they're comfortable with them, we're gonna move them to their house. And they take care of them themselves, but they're always welcome at the club.
Okay, how many hours a day do you devote to beekeeping?
Oh man, there's really no way to
I mean, like
every season.
a hobby. You know, people think of it as a hobby.
You never stop. If,
Yeah.
if you're not out there doing this with a frame, you're doing it up here.
Yeah.
Or you're reading.
Yeah, or learning. And I know that's one thing. If you go to YouTube, and y'all, we will put this on YouTube when we get off the air. It'll be about an hour, hour and a half. And you can watch, and like me, guys, you're going to learn. Guys, pick up these things and let's show these, because there's such a process here, and there are things that I saw and learned today that I had no idea about. And honestly, I didn't know that queen, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's like, I've learned so much. And it is so funny because you think about 60,000 bees.
When it's full.
How much honey would 60,000 bees at a very productive hive produce in a year?
Well, there's hives and there's colonies. So we have a gentleman in the club has a broken back, but you would never know it because he stacked them 7 high. And he's on a stepladder to pull off the honey frames.
Wow. And these, do you reuse? This just looks so nasty.
Yeah, you do. You reuse it.
It just looks so nasty. And I'm sitting over here eating this stuff that came out of this.
You know, the inside of a healthy colony is one of the cleanest places there possibly could be.
Completely
Isn't that crazy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal.
That is crazy. Now, we were talking a little bit earlier about the fact that cancer is among us everywhere. And the fact that bees could possibly help us in reducing what cancer does to us. Is there something going on now? Do you know about that?
Anything that's going to be leaning more towards a natural state of being, natural products, is going to move further away from things like a cancerous entity. And
it's so weird because I think about this. Number one, is it tasty and enjoyable? It's like medicine that tastes good. Remember in Mary Poppins when she said a little bit of spoonful of sugar? Yeah, this goes down so easy. So if we could get everybody doing this daily.
You can use honey for wound care as well.
Really?
Burns.
Yes.
They put it on burns.
You're kidding?
In Vietnam, right? As a nurse.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
One time I was driving my brother's motorcycle, and I had tipped it on its side, and since it's Chinese, the exhaust pipe is on the other side, and I'd put my leg on it, and it had burned. And every day my mom would take off a bandage and put a new one on and put Monica honey on it.
Wow.
And of course, it did not feel comfortable, so she gave me her lip balm, and I'd just bite down on that.
Wow, that is crazy. So honey
has been used to treat wounds for thousands of years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, y'all have got to come back because an hour wasn't long enough, but we're about to be out of time.
Can I say one thing about our upcoming meeting? It's going to be ETC Pavilion on the 12th of June.
Okay.
It's our picnic as well.
Okay.
Jonathan's going to speak.
There you go. So everybody to the ETC Pavilion on the river here in Ellijay, June the 12th. What time?
At 5:30, 6 o'clock. If you're a vegan, vegan, whatever,
Vegan.
Yeah,
Vegan.
vegan. Or you like hamburgers, because we're going to cook mystery meat. So
Okay.
bring a dish.
Okay, bring a dish, bring a covered dish, and again, and we're out of here, y'all.
Thank
It
you.
went too fast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.